to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. What another great show we got lined up for you this week. Gonna have James Morris, former Hawkeye linebacker, joining us, as well as Jeff Horner, former Iowa Hawkeye basketball playing great, and Mitch Fick, Fox 28 and KGN CBS 2 news anchor, going to join us. Hawkeye fan through and through, a sports guy. Looking forward to catching up with Mitch as well. But Craig and Stacy Schroeder from Fight with Flash Foundation via Facebook or fightwithflash.org. Craig and Stacy, it truly is 2022. Flash's favorite number, Austin Flash Schroeder, and the Fight with Flash karma, the good karma, and the Hawkeyed with Dave O'Hara good karma. What do we have? Chris Murray here last week, and what all he do last week was 29 points, 11 rebounds against Indiana? Yeah. Did we have something to do with that?
Well, it might have been some of the advice Stacy gave off camera, basketball advice, right. I think, maybe. So.
Stacy, I knew you had it in you.
I know. You know it.
Craig, all this coaching and thought process we think we have, Stacy, you knew it all along, didn't you?
I did. Yep. I knew he'd show up for us.
As always. Hey, again, that's right. Go Hawks indeed. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be carrying a best of episode with the second segment that I recorded with Chris individually, but also a replay of this summer when we recorded with Keegan Murray. So we got all that coming up for you next week. But this week, again, Jeff Horner, James Morris, and Mitch Fick. Craig and Stacy, again, go to Fight with Flash Foundation via Facebook or fightwithflash.org for that fantastic apparel, as well as the earrings, jewelry, everything is still available online, right?
Yes.
Looking forward to it. Craig, Stacy, we'll catch up in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
Thank you both so much. You're welcome. Thank you both so much for the Fight with Flash Foundation. Craig and Stacy Schroeder. I am Dave O'Hara. Back with more Hawkeye in a few moments. Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. My buddy Jeff Horner joining us, as you can see. It's been a couple of weeks. Jeff is in his fourth year at Truman State University as head men's basketball coach. Jeff, former Iowa Hawkeye basketball playing great at or near the top of most meaningful offensive statistical categories in Iowa men's basketball history. Jeff is the MOP or MVP of the 2006 Big Ten tournament. Jeff, also former Mr. Iowa basketball, made his decision to play at Iowa in his freshman year in high school. So Jeff comes by it naturally, coaching now. So Jeff, put your coaching shoes on first. Well, first of all, thanks for joining us, Noise, and how you doing?
Thanks for having me. Doing well, doing as good as I can.
Well, I wanted to get into that a little bit. Off camera, we were talking, and you've had some snafus with protocols with your GLVC conference, so we won't get into that right now. But you're top 20 ranked with your team. You got another big game upcoming, so we greatly appreciate you shoehorning us in here. So we'll update more on the schedule as it plays out. But boy, we're running out of days to play those games, aren't we, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure. The presidents had a meeting on Friday and decided to allow us to do makeup games. However, us coaches have to figure out the makeup games, and that was kind of a rough patch in getting that done last year. So we'll have to figure out how to get those games made up. And every game lost is definitely, down the line, seating wise, is something that it hurts you with just certain types of things. So hopefully we can get those games made up, and everyone will be happy. And, I just want to play for our players because they're the ones that are missing out on games. And I just don't, that's the worst part about it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. As you mentioned, you made the Elite Eight last year, went to Nationals the year before, had to turn around in St. Louis on your way from Kirksville to Indy to play in the national tournament. Well, then you finally did get to play last year, and that went well into an Elite Eight and lost a heartbreaker to get into the Final Four. So all types of hurdles that you're getting past, but boy, oh boy, I just want you to get some games in. Again, top 20 ranked, but the more games you play, more victories, you're going to start climbing your way back up. You were formerly number 2 this year behind Northwest Missouri State, who lost a game too. So everybody's kind of shuffling and scrambling, but hopefully we'll get some normalcy towards the end of the year and get you into that postseason. So Jeff, let's talk about those Iowa Hawkeyes. When you talk about postseason, right now 3-3 in the Big Ten, a couple of big victories for the Hawks against Indiana. Last week we had Chris Murray on this show, and I'm taking credit for his big game last Thursday against Indiana. Should I do that, Jeff?
Yeah, that'd be good. So he's that definitely was a really good game. I didn't really get a chance to watch it, but just kind of saw some highlights with him. And the Murray twins are just they're something special. They go down to a prep school down in Florida and don't have a lot coming out of high school, and they just kept at it, kept working hard, and now they're living out their dream for playing for the Hawkeyes. And I know Kenyon really well, and I know he's really proud of both of them.
Yeah, an intriguing thing to that, Jeff, is when talking to Chris last week, he had talked about when I mentioned Jess Settles, what Jess Settles had said about the Murray boys, and also what you said about the Murray twins, and they both acknowledged and smiled and said, yeah, they appreciate hearing it from former players, especially guys that played around Kenyon's era, and you know Kenyon, as you said, and you knew the boys could always shoot, and that's one thing Chris said last week. He kind of chuckled and said, yeah, we like to shoot the three, and what a big three Keegan then hits on Sunday at Minnesota. 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Hawks only up by 3, and Minnesota making a mad dash to get in it. Curry didn't play for the Gophers. I'll tell you what, that takes some major step-up ability for a leader as a sophomore in Keegan to take that 3, but to hit that 3, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. I actually got home to see the second half. I turned the game on, and Iowa was up by about 20. We were supposed to have a game yesterday on Monday, and it obviously got canceled. But so we had practice on Sunday, and then got home to see the second half. Iowa was up by about 20, and then kind of dwindled away a little bit. And sometimes I think when you have those big leads, you can kind of take your foot off the gas pedal just a little bit. And, you see Iowa maybe not being as aggressive, going towards the basket, that type of thing. But then, down the stretch, players made big plays. Obviously Keegan then comes up with a huge 3 late in the shot clock, and then down at the other end gets a big time block. So, it's one of those things where people don't understand how hard it is to play with a lead like that. Sometimes you get a little bit complacent, that type of thing. But I think it speaks volumes of what type of leader Keegan Murray is to come up big in the end for them.
That's exactly where I was going with that, and thank you for including that. Ever the pro, leading me down the path there, Jeff, with the block shot at the end. We all want to talk about the made three-pointer, but then he plays on both ends of the court, got a big rebound late as well. So all those things you had mentioned, and then you talked about it, what Fran talked about with his team. Got a little complacent, you get that big lead, next thing you know, boom, they're on a 7-0 run, then it's a 13-2 run, and now they're back in the game. So as you mentioned, it's hard to keep that going, what got you the lead, to keep that sustained throughout. So moving forward, Jeff, let's take a look then at the upcoming games. Again, I mentioned we're going to run the best of episodes with Chris and Keegan Murray for next week's show. So let's you and I go a little into the future. As Jeff referenced, viewers, we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, January 18th. So anything that happens before the next live recording in a couple of weeks, we're not responsible for. So I'll say this to you, Jeff. They go to Rutgers tomorrow night. Tough place to play. The Hawks have had some recent trouble there, as have a lot of other teams. I can mention many other teams in the Big Ten. Let's talk about Rutgers, and they play Penn State twice in 9 days, and you got a nice little game mixed in there against Purdue, the revenge match at Carver Hawkeye. Let's talk about those games, please.
Yeah, I think, Rutgers is obviously a team, like you said, you're going all the way out on the East Coast. You're going to have a time change. And then, you got kind of 1 day to prepare for them and to get to that time change. And like you said, I think anywhere in the Big Ten is tough to play when you go on the road. So anytime you can pull out a road victory, that's huge. I still remember, I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, Joel Wieskamp, hitting off the side of the side of the backboard and going in, and them getting a win at the end of the game. So, like I said, anytime you can, come up with a road victory, that's huge. And, Penn State's a good team as well, too. I mean, any team, when you play them on the road, like I said, it doesn't matter what their record is or anything like that. You just seem to get up more for home games than you do road games. I don't know why. I can't really speak on it, as far as why it happens. It just happens. But I think it's more a little bit of, you get to play in front of your own fans, that type of thing, and they get you going a little bit more. And Carver Hawkeye can get loud at times. And so, hopefully we can get that back, and guys can get, hopefully they can take this Minnesota game and Indiana game that they just played and take some momentum from those.
One last tidbit before I let you go. Are you happy with the guard rotation between Toussaint, Perkins, and you got and Ulis, everything rotating in with Jabo? You're okay with all that, being a former guard yourself, point guard, shooting guard, now you're coaching? What are your thoughts about how Fran's working those 4 around?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good when, you sometimes I think that sometimes, guards struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can struggle at any different point. So to be able to have a deep bench is good as well, because now you can plug a guy in here, plug a guy in there if someone's struggling, that type of thing. And I think they've all kind of complemented each other really well. When one hasn't played well, the other one's played well, and Fran's kind of gone with a hot hand, possibly down the, towards the end of the game. And, when Jabo is on the court on offense, especially at the end of the games with the lead, they're trying to get him the ball to shoot free throws. I mean, he's the best free throw shooter, in Hawkeye history. So, I think he's done a good job of rotating those guys and gone without a hand.
Jeff, great stuff from you as always. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you in a couple weeks, and good luck.
Sounds good, Dave. Thank you.
You bet. You're welcome. Thank you. For Jeff Horner, I'm Dave O'Hara, back with more Hawkeyed with James Morris, former Hawkeye linebacker, in just a few moments.
In farming, everybody knows relationships drive the industry. And with Merschman Seeds, you've got a friend in the field. Hi, this is Joe Merschman. We're the friend that delivers with extraordinary speed. We're the friend that shares knowledge and innovation. We're the friend that cares about your yields and profits. And we just happen to have the most advanced seed technology in the industry. When you choose the best seed, you also get the best people. Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see, that is not James Morris. Close, though.
I wish.
My production partner, Rob Miller with Homegrown Media. Rob, my friend, thanks for standing in. You're a father of two young daughters.
Parenting in the pandemic, man.
James Morris is a father of one young daughter, Evelyn, and she had a tough day today, not feeling well. So James had to bail. So from the first segment, when I said that James Morris was going to join us, and I don't even feel right using the words bail. Those were James's words. He's not bailing. It's good fatherhood right there.
Yeah. Evelyn, you can't even look at her sideways. She's probably too darn cute. You just got to let her go.
That's it.
And give her some love.
It wasn't like we didn't try.
Yeah.
We actually had about 30 seconds in, and then Evelyn woke up, and we had some other timing issues. So James Morris will join me in a couple weeks. But Rob, a perfect fill-in because your buddy Mitch Fick is going to join us at the end of the show. So I want to talk with you the same thing I was going to talk to James Morris about, which is you take a look at the Hawkeyes and who's declared for the NFL. His Solon alum, his fellow Solon alum, and his fellow Hawkeye alum, Tyler Linderbaum, going to the NFL. So let the viewers know what he told you and me off camera. We'll mildly say he was happy, to say the least.
Well, Linderbaum, so skilled, a high draft pick for a center, likely one of the highest in NFL draft history. He seems like one of those guys who loves college football.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing they had to almost take him out kicking and screaming to the NFL draft. It just felt like maybe there was a chance he comes back for his senior year. But knows that this is probably the right choice.
Would agree with that. And Kyler Schott, I say this to you all the time about athletes, and I've said it on the air, and you've heard me say it many times to you, Rob. Why do guys go to college in the first place?
Right, to earn a professional
to get a
opportunity,
job.
know, and
good for Kyler Schott.
All these guys. I mean, and even the ones who have come back, you think, oh gosh, maybe are they leaving an opportunity on the table? Hey, the timing is going to be right when the timing is right. Everybody has to make their own decision. For Linderbaum, heck, he probably could have left last year, but you also wouldn't have faulted him had he stayed for one more. There's some guy, Charlie Jones. You go, gosh, should he come back? There's so many of those stories, and it's also interesting right now with these COVID years. There are certainly basketball conversations happening around the same context of should you stay, should you go? But on the football front, I just hey, what a neat opportunity for so many of these guys.
Who knew how many years ago so many years ago the Clash song "Should I Stay or Should I Go"? How appropriate it would be for Iowa athletics. But the other thing is that Robin, as we're talking, we're going to be putting names up on the screen of Hawkeyes that have gone to the NFL. 7 total declared right now, and then also some of the Hawks, as you mentioned, that are coming back. Jack Campbell, Riley Moss. I don't want to go through the whole list, so we're going to put an on-screen graphic of who's declared for the NFL draft, Hawkeye football players, and then who's coming back. Then we're also going to put on the screen here in just a few moments during this segment with you. How about them Hawkeyes? To quote Jimmy Johnson, said, how about them Cowboys? How about them Hawkeyes? All 8 teams in the NFL playoffs in the final divisional rounds, Rob, all 8 teams represented by Hawkeyes.
I look forward to seeing a Hawkeye carrying the Lombardi Trophy once again this year. I think it was James Ferentz a few years ago who was the first one to get his hands on it when he was with I want to say, was that the Broncos? It was a few years. Anyway, it's always fun to hear.
Tristan Wirfs last year.
Yeah.
He joined me on this show last year, and Anthony Nelson.
He might go get another one.
He might get another one. So they could be a lot of Hawkeyes. Again, we're going to put that list up, 17 total And the Buffalo Bills, my guy, our buddy Ike Budker was on the show last year, is on IR for the Bills, but AJ Epinesa, we got a lot of Hawkeyes littered throughout these
The
teams.
Chiefs, the Bills. I mean, there's just so many.
Awesome.
Somebody's going to be lifting up a Lombardi trophy.
I want to get this for last little tidbit in with you, Rob, in the last minute or two that we have with you today. A lot made about Kirk Ferentz. Congratulations to him and his staff, 7-year extension through 2029. Those rumors last year, folks, of people saying, oh, he's going to be done this year or the following year. So glad to report that. Some are complaining about the money. When you have stability like this, what he brings to the table, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
19 bowls,
he's middle of the
23
pack
years.
in the Big Ten in terms of salary, which, if, hey, you're the longest tenured coach in college football, I think that's almost on the low side. You could make an argument. So, and for a guy who's brought, in my opinion, nothing but stability and pride to a program that hasn't always had that. If you look back over the last, 90 to 100 years, however long the program's been around, he has taken us to a high tide and has sustained it. I think any Iowan can and should be proud of the program that he runs.
Well stated. And consistency. And you talk to all the former players I talked to on this show that you're a part of with me, Rob, here at Hawkeyed, all talk about that stability. And that's what you need as a fan base as well. 19 out of 23 years in a bowl. Now, there's flap coming up about the advisory committee. I would advise others who want to jump on the bandwagon negatively. I'm not going to get into this, nor are you.
Yeah.
But I will say, let's let this play out. And it's playing out in his favor. Those that jumped the gun are seeing now that wasn't a wise choice.
You read beyond the headlines, you usually get a little bit more news. And that goes for anything, of course, but specific to the story, I think if you waited for the details to come out, you probably got a bit of more of a complete story that tells you exactly what's going on. And hey, he's said it himself more than a few times. He's changing himself for the better. I think any of us and all of us can do those things in all parts of our lives. He's certainly, he lives in a spotlight that maybe the rest of us don't, and so he faces scrutiny regularly, be it on the field or off the field. I give anyone credit, and especially him in this situation, for being a man and saying, there are things I can be better at. Let's work on that.
Well stated. We'll get more into that as the days go on, but we're going to let this play out a little bit. So as we record this on Tuesday afternoon, January 18th, those are the headlines. So Rob, my friend, thanks for pinch hitting.
You bet.
Or in football terms, next man upping.
Calling the lefty from the bullpen.
That's right. Yeah. So for Rob Miller, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. We'll be back to close out the show with Mitch Fick in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair, upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing the book on it? Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Mershman Seeds has been treating soybeans for decades, long before it was commonplace. We're the leader in technology, introducing Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, with an added fungicide to help produce a faster, more even emergence every single time. Who can you trust with your yields? Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Mitch Fick, Fox 28 and KGAN CBS 2 news anchor, but you're a sports guy through and through, right, Mitch?
That's how this whole thing started. CBS 2 back in summer of 07. I was an intern in the sports department. Kevin Hall was the sports director. Jared Aarons was the weekend sports guy. And 15 years later, I haven't changed buildings. At least it's still in the same one. I've moved around a little bit.
Greatly appreciate you joining us. And obviously being a Sinclair property that we are on 4 stations throughout the state of Iowa, you're friends with my production partner, lifelong friends, as you're smiling, keep it clean here. High school, college friends with Rob Miller, my production partner. Your grandmother, my mom, our neighbors.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of connections, Mitch.
It's Eastern Iowa. We were talking about this too, the old Stephen Wright bit. It's a small world, just wouldn't want to paint it. But that's anytime you're never more than 3-4 degrees of separation from somebody that you're next to in Iowa. It's a great thing.
So we'll do an extra special good show for your grandmother, Katie Fick, my mom,
Grandma,
Joanne
yeah.
O'Hara. There you go. You heard him right there, Katie. This is for grandma and this is for mom. So let's, Mitch, go into your background. Like you said, traveling all over the Midwest, coming back home. But you're a sports guy. What a thrill it had to be for you this summer, and what great coverage you guys did at Sinclair, Fox 28, CBS 2. You took a group of guys with you as well, David Amilati, Nick Stewart, Jet Beecham was there, and yourself. So the four of you, talk about that experience.
The field of dreams. Major League Baseball finally comes to Eastern Iowa for a regular season game. Way back when there had been a preseason one, a spring training game a little bit, an exhibition. But I've been so fortunate in this career to cover a Final Four. I've covered a Rose Bowl. I've covered an Orange Bowl. I've been at Fenway when the Red Sox won the pennant back in 2013 against the Tigers when I was covering Detroit. I've been to Jerry World and Cowboys Stadium. They have been incredible benchmark moments in my career. Seeing the White Sox and the Yankees in a field in Dyersville, Iowa, trumps them all.
Wow.
Simply because of the nostalgia of being a hometown kid, the way the game ended, the way everything went. It was the movies come to life. It's magic that you can only plan to a point. You can just hope that it goes the way it's not scripted, but hopefully would be scripted in the movies. And it was just a perfect night there. And I just can't wait to do it again.
I was going to ask you your favorite part of that, but I think you just went right to it. The ending, the home run. Kevin Costner's in the house, and you're almost scratching your head going, did they prearrange this? Because it was unreal how that storybook, as you mentioned, played out. That had to be your favorite part.
Just incredible. And unfortunately, we didn't get to be in the stadium for that part. We were getting ready to go live for our coverage after the game. So we were set up by the old movie site. I was in one of our live trucks, probably about 150, 175 yards away. And we were watching the game within the truck on the TV screen, and there's probably like a 10, 12 second delay. So I hear the crowd before Tim Anderson ever gets into one. And I know that's a home run walk-off cheer. And so I don't know what my 40 time is, but I bested it, whatever it was, getting down to the stage.
PR'd your 40.
So I could see the fireworks going off over it, and it's one of the most magical. I'm partially glad I didn't have time to get the phone out, because it's one of those memories you just want to preserve, and it was such a great thing. And from the incredible beginning that we didn't get to see until after we were getting out of Dyersville, what Fox Sports did with Costner coming out, and then that incredible cinematic shot where he looks back and the players come out. I get emotional even just thinking about it. It was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And to bookend it with a home run that Tim Anderson had kind of told me that day as we got to see the teams walk out to the movie site and walk out to the stadium for the first time. Tim Anderson was the guy who said, I want to make the most of this opportunity. Tim Anderson, you made the most of that opportunity in a big way.
I think, more than a guy could ever dream. And the interesting thing with your story, Mitch, is that you come by it naturally. You're from Northeast Iowa. As we mentioned, family in Northeast Iowa, in Iowa in general. You went to the University of Iowa from Cedar Rapids. I think that the thing I appreciate most about your career is in coming back, you've worked through the DeRate Show and helped raise funding for that. And you did a newscast with the other networks I thought was awesome. And great work by you and everybody involved. But the other thing I think that really shows community, which is what this show is all about, truthfully, is community between the Hawkeyes with football that you've covered, basketball. Isn't it fascinating how people say it to me all the time? I was in California, Kansas City, came back here. Why do people leave if they're going to come back? And I think for me, it's, you don't know what you don't know what you have until you come back to it. So for you, I think that's got to be the same thing, right? With the experience with the Hawkeyes and seeing that community, but then even something like a DeRate Show, a news event.
Yeah, and it was really the floods of 2016 that kind of convinced me to stay. I moved back Labor Day weekend 2016. With zero intention of sticking around. I'd been in Grand Rapids, Michigan for 4 years. I'd been the lead sports anchor there, and was kind of looking for a Kansas City, Indianapolis size market. Had aspirations of maybe going to a regional network at some point, but came home, and 3 weeks later, the floods of 2016 hit, and I was called into freelance reporting and standing in floodwaters near Cedar River Landing in downtown Cedar Rapids. And it was seeing the community react to that natural disaster that reminded me of what this community does. I bust out the phrase quite a bit. We get hit, we get to work. And there's really not a breath in between. I've seen that after tornadoes tore through the Lynn County Fairgrounds a few years ago. As soon as the tornado and the storms died down, you heard chainsaws and people got to work there. Certainly saw it with the DeRate Show. This community is just built different. They've been dealt so many bad hands from 2008 to 2016 to August of 2020. You go back to the floods of '93. I remember growing up as a kid in Northwest Cedar Rapids. This community just is looking out for each other in times of need. And to come back and not have plans to stay, but now to be here a little over 5 years, pushing 5.5 years, it's never too late to come home, and it's been a cool thing to find.
I can agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm the same way. And Mitch, we're going to have your sports guy, Jet Beecham, on, some other sports and personalities, sportscasters or other personalities throughout the Sinclair system in the state of Iowa. We're on all 4 of the stations here in Iowa. So love having you on. We'll do this again. Do you think we did a good enough job for your grandma Katie and my mom Joanne?
Grandma, I miss you. I love you. I hope we did good for you. That's all I can hope
I'll
for.
say the same thing, except Mom, I miss you and love you and hope we did a good job for you. So
That's all we're trying to do.
yeah, that's all we're trying to do here. Mitch, fantastic stuff.
Likewise.
I look forward to doing this again. He is Mitch Fick, news anchor at Fox 28 and CBS 2. Also, most importantly, grandson of Katie Fick, but buddy of my buddy and production partner, Rob Miller. So thanks for keeping that off the air so much, Mitch.
There you go.
For Mitch Fick and James Morris and also Jeff Horner, and you, the listeners and viewers, as well as Craig and Stacy Schroeder with Fight with Flash. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. That's all from me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guest and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeyed. Thanks to all of you.